Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. This should be a treat. This is Evil Twins Brewing. This is Christmas Eve at a New York City hotel room. What a name for a beer. This is an Imperial Stout coming in at 10%. It's got written in yellow here, 232, semicolon 15. So assuming that this is done, this was bottled on the 232nd day of 2015. So it's been in the bottle for a couple of months now anyway. But it is a 10% Imperial Stout, so this beer should keep for a long, long time, guys. 5, 10, maybe even 15 years or more. There's no reason that I can think of why you could not cellar this beer for a long time if you so choose. And this wasn't too often. Evil Twin beers are fairly pricey here, especially the bigger bottles and the bigger ABV bigger bottles. This wasn't too bad. I'm thinking it was between the $4 or $5 range for this 12-ounce bottle. And a lot of people thinking, oh man, that is expensive. And I consider that expensive. But you got to realize it's a 10%er. It's an Imperial Stout. So it costs a little bit more to brew that big of a beer. And of course, Jeppy, the vagabond brewer, McKellar Brewing's brother, he's doing his brewing here in the United States, where McKellar does his over in Denmark and over in that area. So it's nice to have two brothers that are into craft beer, and one's doing his business over there, so those guys can enjoy it, and we can still get some of his beers here, but with the transportation costs, getting them over across the pond, as they say, it adds a little bit of cost to those beers. McKellar's beers are kind of pricey, and Jeppy's beers are kind of pricey too, but they're not quite as bad as McKellar's. I think McKellar does a lot of his stuff in the 22-ounce bomber size, where Jeppy does do some of the 12-ounce, but he still does the bombers too. And the price varies considerably. I mean, you can pay $3.99, $4.99 for a 12-ounce bottle. Sometimes maybe even be $6.99. And then some of the bombers, you can pick them up for $8.99 or $9 or $10.99, or some of them can be as expensive as $21 to $25 a bottle for the bomber. So the price varies considerably, and I don't know why it's so much drastic difference in some of the prices, other than, you know, if they're putting in a bourbon barrel somewhere or something like that. But and some of it probably has a little hype to go with it once they get the beer out, and they do it year after year. And it's just like everybody else. It's like Hop Slam and some of the other big name beers, Dark Lord from Surly, and some of the other beers. Once people realize it is such a great beer and it's a well done beer, the price usually ends up going up over time and stuff, and it almost becomes like a cult following sometimes for some of these beers, and people stand in line for some of these beers, and they end up limited to 1 or 2 bottles and all that kind of horse hockey. So it's just the world we live in the craft beer world. So it is what it is. Nothing that me or you can do about it. Might fuss a little bit, but it doesn't do any good. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. So just take it with a grain of salt, and if your pockets can afford to spend $20, $25 or even $30 for some of the Eclipse bourbon barrel aged or barrel aged beers, grab it and enjoy it with some friends or family, and it is what it is. I mean, you just don't want to, not me anyway, spend $25, $30 for a bomber of beer and suck it all down by yourself and not share it with somebody. So Those kind of beers are meant to be shared. I mean, how else can you justify paying that kind of price for a beer and you're going to drink it all yourself? So, yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's get on with this one. Evil Twin, Jeffy, like I said, does some really tasty stuff. I've not had this particular one. I have seen it before, so I decided to go ahead and pick this one up when I was at the Barrel Chest the other day and give it a try. He does a lot of different beers, a lot of similar beers as far as imperial stouts, but I'm sure the recipes changed up a little bit on each one, and using different hops and adding different things like, you know, what kind of malt he's using and what kind of hops he's using, and whether it's barrel aged or not, and all that kind of stuff. There's so many ways that the brewers can change up the recipe. So this is a 10%er. I don't have the IBUs listed here on either site. Nope, but it is a imperial stout at 10%. Food pairings for the commercial description says new recipe, new label, new year. So they had Beer Advocate, Rate Beer. One of them had two different listings for the 2010, then they had 2011 on. So I think it's pretty much from the 2011 version on up, they're using the same recipe for each one of the beers that is coming out each year with that beer. So this was done on 2/32, the day of 2015. So you guys have a calendar, you can figure out what day that is in the calendar year. I'm not exactly sure. We're in December, so we're pretty close to the 300 and some days. So it's probably been in the bottle for a couple of months, I would think. Food pairings for this style of beer: cheeses with buttery brie good Havarti Swiss. Since it is a stout, goes well with your chocolate dishes, or even, you know, after you've had your dinner, to have it as your dessert. 10%, probably going to have a lot of chocolate in it, maybe some coffee or caramel, roasted malt, maybe even some dark fruit. We're going to find out here in just a minute. Glassware. Oh, I didn't give you the meat. The meat is beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glassware pint, Beckeronic tumbler sniffer, oversized wine glass. I chose to bring out the double glass for this particular one today, guys. So I had a guy ask me this yesterday or the day before how many ounces this double glass is. I didn't know what to tell him. I'm not exactly sure. It's probably about a 20 ouncer, but I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't have it written on the glass anywhere. I don't know. I got this in a gift pack, so I'm not exactly sure how many ounces it is. It is a fairly big glass. It definitely will hold more than 16 ounces. So this beer can be sold for long periods, no doubt. It's an imperial stout. No reason why it would not keep for 5, 10, maybe even 15 years or longer if you sell it correctly. And these type of beers are prime candidates for buying multiple years and doing a vertical side by side with a 2015 and a 2017, or a 2012 and a 2015, just to see how it matures and how well it sellers and how well those flavors combine and come together over several years differences in the year, or even year to year, 2014 and a 2015, and see if you can taste it. A lot of times there is a big difference, sometimes there are not. It just depends. So let's get the cap off of this one. Don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. So we'll stop talking, start pouring, and then start drinking. Yeah. Alright, guys. Christmas is around the corner. If you need an opener, give me a shout. Still got a couple of t-shirts, not a whole lot. The t-shirt sales have dwindled, so I'm not going to invest in several $100s to buy another box of t-shirts when they're not selling. And once the openers are gone, if it takes me 2 or 3 months to get rid of the openers, I'm probably not going to reorder them either. So if you need one for Christmas, give me a shout. 10%. Let's go down the center. It is pitch black coming out of the bottle, guys. It is dark as night. So don't think I'm going to get any light through the glass. Especially this one, not using the Sovereign beer glass and using the double glass. It doesn't have a little thin part down here where I can see some light through there, and I am correct. It is pitch black, guys. I'm not getting any light at all around the outside edge or anything. And through that aggressive pour, about a half a finger of head. So not a big head poured on this one. Let's get a nose on it. Oh yeah, rich roasted malt. And I say this all the time for a lot of these stouts, imperial stouts. Almost to the burnt category there as far as the malt. Rich roasted malt. Maybe some bittersweet chocolate in there and some coffee. Caramel, some dark fruit maybe some plums or dates, maybe raisins. The chocolate and the roasted malt are standing out more than anything else. Just a slight, very ever so slight hint of the alcohol. Man, I've had 8%ers that are more boozy than this 10%, no doubt. Great smelling beer, and now as you can see the head is basically dissipated. I can see the beer right on top of the glass there. Just a little bit around the outside, but down in the center I can see the black beer. So, it's time. Let's get it on. Cheers. Very nice. Very, 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 very nice. Roasted malt, caramel, toffee, bittersweet chocolate. Maybe a little hint of some coffee in there. Maybe even some tobacco. Slight hints of some dark fruit, plums, dates, figs. Very, very nice, very pleasant. And I say this all the time on this style of beer. The only way this could be any better is to have it in a bourbon barrel, aged in a bourbon barrel, to get that slight hint of some bourbon. Now it's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees, and a lot of these are going to open, these flavors and aromas are going to open up a little bit as it comes up to room temperature, which I will let it do. Be a prime candidate to go out and fire up a cigar to go with this. A nice, rich, oily Maduro wrapped cigar to go with this rich, black, chocolatey, roasty beer. Very nice. Very nice. Jappy does some great stuff at Evil Twin there. And this particular one is probably like all the rest of them. Brewed by Evil Twin, Stratford, Connecticut, distributed by 12% LLC, New York. So, very nice. It's got the 10% written right on the label. It's got the 232 semicolon 15 in yellow, where we can read it right on the bottle. It doesn't have the IBUs. And of course on this beer, this style of beer, it's not that critical. Would like to know it, but it's not that critical on this beer. As long as it's not overly bitter or overly sweet, it's a well-made beer, and this is very, very tasty. So let me let it warm up and let her have a sip or two or three, and we'll come back and see where this one ends up. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sipping on this about 45 minutes or so. It's up to room temperature. Went out and had a little bit of a cigar. What was it I had? It wasn't a Maduro wrapped. I had one left over from yesterday, and I finished most of it off. It was a Hoya de Nicaragua. Very nice. It wasn't a Maduro wrap, but it wasn't very nice at this. It's a little on the lighter side compared to the beer I was having, but it went very well with the beer that I had yesterday, this Stone Enjoy by. So just finish it off instead of firing up a fresh stick, and it went okay with this beer. This is a pretty damn tasty beer, guys. It's a 10% Imperial Stout. It's got all of the flavors you want in Imperial Stout. The roasted malt, the chocolate, the hints of coffee and dark fruit. Very nice. Very, very nice. And like I said earlier, it wasn't too awful expensive. Evil Twin beers vary drastically from one scale of the range, like this one, $3 or $4 for a 12-ounce bottle, up to even $25 for some of the 22-ounce bombers. So his beers are kind of pricey. They are. And a lot of times you get what you pay for, guys, especially in a 10% Imperial Stout. And like I said earlier, the only way that I think this beer could be a little bit better is put it in a bourbon barrel or some kind of barrel, rye, whiskey, bourbon, rum, something that gives it just that extra kick. But this one does not. So let's do the final chug. Oh, that's so good. Evil Twin knows how to make a very tasty beer, especially these heavier, darker imperial beers. Does a very good job at it. Very, very good job at it. Very nice, guys. Like I said, the only way this could be better is to put it in some kind of barrel to let it age for a little bit. And for a 10%er, the alcohol is very well hidden. A lot of roasty malt notes on this beer. Chocolate, coffee, with hints of some dark fruit there. Very nice. Very, very nice. And it doesn't have a date that you can say bottled on this date or enjoyed by this date. It's got the code 232:15. So that's a 232nd day of 2015. So very nice. I think it's a 9 out of 10. If I was putting a numeric rating on this, it would probably be a 98 or even a 99. It's pretty damn tasty. It is pretty nice. A nice, enjoyable beer to have with a stronger dish, or even after dinner for your dessert, or even with your dessert. A brownie, some kind of chocolate dish for dessert. This would pair very well with it. So, very, very nice. Something that I would buy again. It wasn't too awful pricey, and it is a 10% Imperial Stout. Very tasty. Over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate is 88 in a very good range. I think that number is considerably low. I kind of disagree with that. I'm going to come out and say I think that number is very low. 88 is in the B range, upper B range, maybe a B plus. I think this is an A beer, guys. I really do. It's very tasty. Nothing, no off-putting flavors, no metallic taste. Very nice beer. And over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says overall 99 and 85 in the style. I agree more a lot of times with Rate Beer's ratings other than the Beer Advocate. There are some exceptions, and I usually bring those up when I have those beers, especially when Beer Advocate has a better number that agrees with what I'm saying. But right now, Rate Beer has a 99 overall, where Beer Advocate has an 88. I would give this a 98 or a 99. So I'm more in line with what Rate Beer has got. And I tell you guys all the time, these guys that do these reviews, unless it really blows their hair back or their socks off, they are kind of mediocre a lot of times on what they say. So I try to give you the most honest impression that I'm getting from the beer. And I think this is a very well made beer. The alcohol is fairly well hidden. All the flavors you need in an Imperial Stout with the roasted malt and the coffee and chocolate and some dark fruit in there. So very nice, very well made. So with that being said, if you've had this one from Evil Twin, this is their Christmas Eve at a New York City hotel room. If you had a 6-pack of these in a New York City hotel room and you drank all 6 of them, you'd be shit-faced. You'd be absolutely face down in the dirt, shit-faced. Hopefully you'll stay in that motel room or hotel room and not try to drive anywhere. Of course, not a lot of people drive in New York City. They take taxi cabs and all that kind of stuff when they're up there, which is probably a damn good idea if you're drinking a 10% beer. So let me know if you've had this one from Evil Twin. Like I said, this is the first edition of this one. I haven't had the previous years so far, so I enjoyed it. I would buy it again. Very tasty. If you've had it, let me know what you think. Come on back tomorrow. Let's go see what's in the fridge. See you then.